The dawn was gently sweeping across the dry, gray peaks of the Rocky Mountains, bathing the dusty country road in a golden light, where the wilderness still held its ancient and fierce grandeur. Elara, a photographer passionate about capturing the silent moments of the natural world, was driving slowly, her keen eyes constantly observing the foliage by the roadside. For her, every trip was a promise of harmony, an endless dance between life and survival. However, that peaceful silence was brutally shattered. Just ahead of her car, a large, reddish-brown silhouette bolted out of the roadside thicket, staggering and heavy-footed onto the asphalt. It was a magnificent male white-tailed deer, carrying a majestic rack of branched antlers, a symbol of the animal's vitality and royalty. Yet, that imposing image was obscured by a strange detail, an entirely unnatural object that had transformed this creature into a suffering being, an old, black car tire, stuck around its neck like a shackle. Elara immediately slammed on the brakes. She didn't feel fear. Instead, a deep sorrow and a profound sense of injustice surged within her. The animal was panting heavily, its tanned coat drenched in sweat. The tire had pressed deeply into the flesh, creating a harsh boundary between life and the inert, man-made material. The tire was not just an obstruction, it was a sentence. In the moment she faced the tired, fearful eyes of the deer, Elara knew that her intervention was necessary and could not be postponed. She quickly grabbed her phone, beginning a race against time to atone for the unintentional mistake of civilization. After the initial shock, Elara backed away to a safe distance, adhering to the ultimate principle of the observer: do not cause additional stress to the distressed creature. She waited patiently, each heavy breath of the male white-tailed deer a countdown to disaster. The deer remained there, its eyes vigilant yet weary, tracking Elara's every movement. Under the fierce sunlight, Elara began to notice the cruel details of the situation. The majestic antlers, once the animal's pride, were now deadly obstacles. More importantly, as the deer tried to lower its neck to the roadside weeds, a small, painful groan escaped. It was then that Elara saw it. The inner edge of the worn tire had exposed the steel belt, the layer of reinforcing metal wires deep within the rubber structure. Now, those rusty steel threads had turned into crude blades, cutting deep into the animal's flesh whenever it tried to move its neck or bend its head. It wasn't just stuck, it was being tortured by human waste itself. Its most basic survival acts, drinking, foraging, had become self-destructive behaviors. The animal had endured prolonged thirst and hunger, forced to abandon its natural instincts. About 20 minutes later, the Wildlife Conservation Center's pickup truck arrived. An experienced veterinarian stepped out, carrying a heavy gear bag on their shoulder. The vet quickly observed the animal from every angle, their eyes filled with pity upon seeing the bleeding wound. "This is awful," the vet whispered. "It's been carrying this for too long. The fur around the neck is completely worn away. The wound is no longer fresh." Immediately, the tranquilization process began. The deer needed to be immobilized to prevent further injury during the rescue. After a few tense minutes, the white-tailed deer finally settled into a state of rest under the sedative, its legs buckling but still standing. The vet cautiously approached, attempting to rotate the tire. But it wouldn't budge, remaining stubbornly inert. "This tire is completely seized," the doctor confirmed to Elara. "And it's unnaturally heavy. Its antlers are too wide and branched. We can't pull it over. The biggest challenge isn't just the tire, but what's hidden inside it." Those words revealed a truth even more horrific than the open wound, a truth about the invisible burden the animal was carrying. The deer was bearing not just a tire, but a compressed mass of weight accumulated over months, perhaps years. If an inanimate object could tell a story, this car tire would tell a tale of 2 years of accumulation and despair. Now, in the stillness of the sedative, the secret of its terrifying weight was revealed. The car tire, originally a hollow structure, was now nothing short of a concrete mold. The vet carefully placed a hand on it, feeling its unusual rigidity. In a calm voice, yet one containing suppressed indignation at human irresponsibility, the doctor explained to Elara, "It has been carrying this for at least 2 years. This buck probably got stuck in the tire when it was younger, perhaps when it had just shed its old antlers and the new set was in the soft, developing, velvet stage. Over time, as the deer lowered its head to forage and drink, the tire collected everything in its path: dirt, wet clay, fallen pine needles, green moss, and even small pebbles. With every step, with every rain, these materials were compressed together, turning the space inside the tire into a nearly solid mass. The vet estimated this burden to be about $19/text kg, a weight equivalent to tying a bucket full of rocks to the animal's neck and forcing it to move and survive every day. Its heart and body have been enduring unbelievable stress, the doctor said. We need to remove at least the majority of this compressed matter. Elara and the vet began the intense but meticulous work. They used their hands and small tools to pry and excavate the rock-hard, compressed soil. Chunks of dry earth, tangled bunches of decaying pine needles were removed. It was difficult work, and every piece of earth taken out was not just a reduction in weight, but a removal of a piece of evidence of prolonged suffering. But even after persistent efforts, only a small portion of the mass was removed. The core remained too tightly compressed, and more importantly, the steel structure inside the tire was still intact, impossible to cut with the wildlife rescue team's ordinary hand tools. We need greater power, the veterinarian concluded, determination shining on their face. We must breach that steel casing. Now, we must call upon tools designed to deal with humanity's greatest accidents, to save this small creature. I'll call the fire department. We need the hydraulic spreaders. Those words officially elevated this rescue story from a conservation center mission to an urgent collaborative effort, a testament to the fact that sometimes only the most powerful human tools can mend the most brutal mistakes. In emergency situations, sometimes the tools designed to cope with human catastrophe become the sole means of saving an innocent life. Now, destructive power was transformed into liberating force. Not long after, the fire truck's siren blared in the distance, bringing the assurance of a final technical solution. A bright red fire engine pulled up, and two professional firefighters stepped out, carrying a heavy and powerful piece of equipment: hydraulic cutters, also known by the nickname Jaws of Life, typically used to cut through metal in severe car accidents. Their arrival transformed this desolate country road into a tense, makeshift surgical station. Elara, the vet, and the fire crew coordinated seamlessly, frameworker. The team understood that, even though the deer was sedated, any mistake in using this powerful tool could lead to disaster. The first firefighter, with intense focus, inserted the thick steel blade into the tire's edge. The slippery rubber made it hard for the blade to grip, but they found the weak point: the rough tear where Elara and the doctor had excavated the clay. One firefighter and the vet held the deer's head steady. Elara held her breath and watched. The firefighters slowly activated the tool. A powerful whine of hydraulic fluid sounded, and then, against tons of force, the rubber tire began to deform. The resistance of the inner steel core was astonishing, but under the unstoppable pressure of modern machinery, finally, a dry, sharp snap echoed. The steel belt had been severed. Without stopping, the blade was moved to the opposite side. A second snap, and the hideous car tire finally split into two halves. The moment was sacred and filled with relief, storyteller. The vet and the firefighter simultaneously grasped the two halves of the tire, carefully pulling them away from the white-tailed deer's neck. The tire dropped to the ground with a heavy, resounding thud, further emphasizing the terrible weight the animal had carried. Everyone sighed in relief. The long struggle was over. But now, before them was the clearest evidence of the prolonged suffering. The deer's neck was deeply furrowed with grooves, the skin red and inflamed, and the fur completely worn away, storyteller. Their mission was not yet complete. The physical liberation had arrived, but now, they awaited the spiritual recovery. The moment this creature realized its freedom was the most emotional climax of the rescue. With the tire removed, the vet carefully examined the deer's neck. Although the abraded skin had formed deep, inflamed grooves, fortunately, there were no signs of acute infection, fact presenter. The doctor meticulously disinfected the wound, then applied a thick layer of healing ointment over all the damaged skin, and administered a necessary preventative dose of antibiotics. Their professionalism and compassion were the only bridge between human devastation and nature's hope for healing. The most crucial moment arrived. The vet injected the anesthetic reversal drug. The entire team of firefighters, Elara, and the doctor retreated, waiting quietly. After a few minutes, the white-tailed deer's eyes began to blink more vigorously, its heavy head slowly lifting, confusedly realizing the change. And then, the animal performed its first action. Cautiously, as if still expecting the cutting pain, it slowly lowered its head. Its nose touched a nearby puddle. It began to drink. It drank deeply, swallowing large gulps of water, for so long that Elara realized these were the first comfortable and complete sips it had taken in a long, long time. This simple act, a basic necessity of life, became the most powerful symbol of its newfound freedom, storyteller. After drinking its fill, the deer raised its head, turning its neck left and right, seemingly testing the long-lost flexibility. Then, it slowly walked to a roadside traffic signpost and began to vigorously rub its liberated neck. It was a moment of pure joy, a simple behavior it had been deprived of for 2 years. A relieved smile spread across the faces of all witnesses. After a brief pause, the white-tailed deer looked at the group of people, seemingly memorizing the faces that had saved it. Without fleeing in panic, it turned and walked calmly, majestically, head held high, into the dense forest and disappeared among the trees. Elara stood there, watching. The tire, weighing nearly $19/text kg dollar, lay on the ground as a physical reminder of the burden human carelessness can inflict, opinionator. This story is not just about a rescue. It is a costly lesson that discarded waste, especially durable materials like tires, does not vanish. They persist, becoming deadly traps, challenging the survival of the natural world we share. We succeeded in saving one life, but how many other white-tailed deer, how many other creatures are carrying the burden of irresponsibility? The story of this buck is a powerful call. Become responsible stewards of this planet. Because in the natural world, every small human action has immense consequences, which can be destruction or, as today, salvation.